Welcome back, Brawlers, to another Bakugan Evolutions deck profile by yours truly, BakuBrad96. Now this one is pretty epic. You know, the whole point around this one was to get 3 Bakugan with massive B power, 1000 to be exact, and just try to make a deck that really utilizes and is centered around that fact. For those of you who are on my Discord, though, you did get a sneak preview already. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, like I said, I am unsure about this deck profile because the Bakugan don't really fit well, you know, as far as the Bakucore lineup. But I did what I could. Again, it is all about that B power, and I like to think I do have some awesome combos in this deck that I will go over. So, starting out with the Platinum Dragonoid, it is a double helix core Bakugan with a B power of 1000, kind of the selling point of this deck, and then 2 damage. So not a whole lot of damage, but this deck does kind of help with that. Again, all about that B power. After that, I am using the Platinum Warrior Well. It does have a Flaming Fist and an Orange Shield core, B power of 1000 with 1 damage, and then on Victor, so when it wins the brawl, you get to steal a Bakucore from an opposing active Bakugan for your own. So I do believe that when this wins the brawl, it does steal the Bakucore and places it on itself. At least when I was building the deck, that is how I understand the mechanic. Kind of the center point here, Platinum Warrior Well, that effect kind of is the main idea. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's like the main strategy, the main win condition is centered around Warrior Well's mechanic, I guess. But again, I will get to that. Finally, though, I am using the Ventus Sectonoid core version. It is a double Flame Fist Bakugan, which really helps this deck's damage, but it does have a B power of 1000, again, 3 for 3, and then 2 damage also. So again, really low on damage, obviously, but this is a B power wins deck. So for the core lineup, obviously, you want to help out with damage where you can. So for the Flame Fists, it's going to be plus 6 damage. Really simple, you know, just adds the damage. The Bakugan don't need B power. For the Helix, I am using the plus 500 B power and then minus 1 damage. They all have really low damage rating already, so I think taking 1 off really won't matter. As far as winning the actual game, you're pinging your opponent with damage. Anyway, you just want to win the individual brawls. So this deck could lean towards a very drawn-out game, which is why I said, you know, go ahead, get the minus 1 damage, because plus 500 B power on 1000 Bakugan is really nice. You know, that gets you up to 1500, and that's just without playing any cards or what else might happen. Finally, you know, I am using a plus 300 Orange Shield because I didn't want to try anything else. Certainly didn't want to try a trap Bakucore because that could hurt the deck. That could take you down from 1000 to 700 if you land on it, and that's dangerous territory. You know, that's pretty weak. So that pretty much does it for explaining the Bakucore behind the team. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below if you would choose differently. But gonna go straight into the deck profile now because I don't want this video to be too long. I know I'm a little over the place because normally I prepare for my videos and I kind of write up what I'm going to say, if you will, like a little script. But this is actually coming to you raw. Right, just now finished making it, and I thought, why not go ahead, upload it, and just show everyone to see what they thought. So first off, I am using 2 ninja gear. So for 0 energy, you get to retract 1 of your open Bakugan. This card is crucial for Warrior Well. In playtesting, or the idea behind this, is being able to use Platinum Warrior Well's stealing mechanic over and over again and just consecutively rolling your Warrior Well. Because again, this deck isn't worried about damage. It's not worried about that team attack. If you could consistently roll, you know, the Warrior Well and continually steal your opponent's Bakukores, disrupting their plays and their combos, I just think that's really powerful. And again, 1000 B power to lean on the back end of that idea is really nice. So you don't have to worry about your opponent just beating you outright once continually stealing their Bakucore. After that, this deck does have really low damage, so it does auto lose to certain pyro strategies or rapid fire strategies that are all about damage. That's why I did include Toxify, so 0 energy for -3 damage just helps out in case an opponent plays a Might of Cindius or a Mac Hero card. You know, you definitely don't want them to negate all of your B power and win with damage. So I did have to include some damage disruption, if you will. After that is Aquos Overwhelm, because it is Ventus and Aquos. Why not try to have a little sub-ramp strategy in the deck as well, which it does. So for 1 energy, you get 200 B power, but then everyone knows about the boost mechanic. If you have 7 or more energy cards in play, plus 600 instead, which again, 600 on a 1000 Bakugan, 1600 for 1 energy, just really, really good. I understand that would have to be late game, but even early game, 1 energy, that would be 1200, still really good. That's not even considering the Bakucore you pick up for that turn. Next up is Deep Dive. I suck at rolling, so re-rolling cards are just really great for me. 1 energy to draw a card, and then you may re-roll your Bakugan. So really good, kind of digs into the deck, thins it out a little bit, and again, re-rolling Warrior Well, good idea. Going back to Disruption with Ventus, I am using 2 G-Force drop. Nothing fancy, just 1 energy for -300 B power and scan. I use this card about like I use my Body Crusher in Darkest. It's just a really solid card from Geogun Rising, and I don't have many cards, so I have to use what I can. The scan does not come up in this build at all. Just saying. Again, helping with opponent damage decks, I have Venom Blast. I run 2 of these, 1 energy for -4 damage. Not bad at all in my opinion. I would probably run maybe 3 of this and then 3 Toxify and just cut the G-Force drop altogether, because I don't expect the opponent to have a much higher B power than these Bakugan unless they have like a Leonidas combo strategy or something along those lines. After that, 2 Body Breaker, 2 energy for just some choices. You know, Battle Mastery, you either get 300 B power or 4 damage. So it is a very solid situational card that could give you B power or damage. The first 3 of the deck is Chomping Tornado, just a solid 2 energy cost card for 500 B power. 2 energy to get all of our Bakugan at base 1500 is really good, and again, that is not counting the Bakucore. Assuming you land on the Red Fist though, I mean either of them, you got 1500 and then anywhere from 7 to 8 damage, which that's good for me. Back to the sub theme, turn to energy. You know, it's 2 energy just to energize it uncharged. Kind of helps with the boost, helps us turbo out and play some of our higher costed cards earlier on. Not that there is a whole lot in this deck, but again, I kind of wanted to give it a sub theme. Helping with that B power, I have 2 Flip Strike, 3 energy for plus 700. It's just really good. And you know, when your Bakugan all have 1000 B power, I can't stress it enough. Get that B power as high as possible. You know, that is what matters. Again, unless you're going against the damage deck and then you pretty much auto lose. I didn't really know how to negate that or counteract that point of it, so any tips or ideas down below would be great. First Baku gear card of the deck is Savage Swarm. Now for 3 energy you do get an armor rating of 1. And boost, when you play this, if you have 7 or more energy cards in play, give a Bakugan -500. That could be really crucial late game, you know, if it comes up. Otherwise, 100 B power and 4 damage onto your Bakugan. That's just really good. It kind of is just kind of a cheat way to get damage on top of already big bodies. The 1100 B power is not a huge difference, but I'm looking at that 4 damage and turning Warrior Well into 5, and then Sectonoid and Dragonoid into 6. Pretty decent. Now when the deck does struggle on the damage end, or the occasional Pyrus Brawler is coming at you with the Damage Wins deck, I do have Shield Breaker. So for 3 energy this turn, your Bakugan gets Victor, plus 6 damage, and you ignore armor rating on opposing players' cards this turn. So really, Platinum Warrior Well, wins the brawl. It gets to steal the bakucore off the opponent. Under a shield breaker, after its one, it gets +6. That's 7 damage. Not counting what core it already has on it, what you steal. Just trying to figure out little interactions and combos that could pair nicely together. Not the best deck builder, obviously, but I am working on it. So I do have a few 1-ups in the deck just to kind of help various interactions. Gaia Force is for the ramp or boost, if you will. For energy, each player may energize the top card of their deck, but then Aurelus power, if you have an Aurelus Bakugan on your team, you also get to energize this uncharged. So it does give your opponent an energy, which does suck, especially if you're trying to boost above your opponent or turbo above your opponent. But with the benefit of having the Aurelus Platinum Dragonoid, you are going to get 2. So your opponent getting 1 energy and you getting 2 energy is decent. It's a lot better than the 1-for-1. Following that, some more disruption with Hook Trap. 4 energy to give a non-Aquos, non-Ventus Bakugan -1200 B power. This is a solid card against all other faction teams and decks. I really like it. I think 4 energy is pretty low, given the fact that this does have a little ramp in the deck. And for -1200, I mean, you can't complain about that. That almost guarantees an auto win against, any other deck but damage. I know I keep saying damage deck, but in my theories, in thinking or in deck building, that is the only deck that could really destroy this one. And I'm probably wrong, but again, working on B power strategies. So I do run a Swamp Trap, 4 energy to negate an action card and recharge up to 4 energies. This is kind of a funny card for a Spin Master to print. I'm not complaining because a free negate is really awesome, but using 4 energy, negating whatever you're negating, and then recharging that 4 seems a little broken to me. And if this game did ever have a ban list, or if it does have a ban list, I'm assuming that would be on it, but I could be completely wrong because sometimes I feel very much out of the loop. Now then, Wild Strike, 4 energy for -4 damage, has definitely been power crept, and this is a less than par card. It definitely has seen better days, but when you're able to energize it after playing it, that just really helps. I have such a limited, amount of cards, and any ramp I could really throw in this deck, I did, outside of flip cards because I already used the flip card spaces to actually stop opponents. But anyway, moving on to Multi-Strike, 5 energy for +300 B power, and you get to draw 3. Once again, 5 energy for 300 B power is not super, but I am, keeping in mind that my Bakugan are already at 1000 B power by themselves, and I did want a little bit of card draw. Drawing 3 late game really could get you into cards that you need, like the G-Force drop, a Ninja Gear to reroll, or to retract your Warrior Well, anything like that. So, Telekinesis Crown, feel free to take it out, put whatever you want in here for it. This is kind of like a placeholder for the deck until I get more ramp. But, if played on a Bakugan, I thought it would be epic. So for 6 energy, it is a Baku Gear card with a armor rating of 2. It gives 600 B power to your Bakugan and 6 damage. That does turn all 3 of the Bakugan on this team into beasts at 1600 B power, and then 8 or 7 damage respectively. Not bad at all. Now then, the last part of the deck, because I'm not running any Geogon, I didn't want to cut consistency. I'm still trying to learn what that means in Bakugan Pro TCG outside of Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! I bring both of those games up because I have experience deck building in those games a lot longer than Bakugan, and I'm learning that the skills don't necessarily transfer over. Deck building for those games is completely different for Bakugan, especially given the fact that your deck is your life total. That is such an oddity, but it is both an oddity and awesome at the same time. Anyway, no one wants to hear me ramble on. They want to finish out this deck profile. So, on to the flips. Aquos Speed, 1 energy to block a Darkus or Ventus Bakugan. Counter Aggression, 1 energy to block a Chaos or Pyrus Bakugan. Feather Wall, 1 energy to block a Aquos or Chaos Bakugan. Repel Destruction, 1 energy to block a Darkus or Pyrus Bakugan. And then finally, Counter Outsiders, 3 energy to block non-Aquos. And Repel Outsiders, 3 energy to block non-Ventus. So I know that is a ton of flip cards, but I really like the amount of coverage as far as the factions go. With this lineup, you know, I just happen to have enough flip cards in Ventus and Aquos to provide a good amount of coverage against the other factions. So I'm hoping this kind of flip card setup is better than what I usually do as far as my flip cards are concerned. Again, trying out new things and still learning as I go, which I hope is enjoyable for you all to watch, being my subscribers, my viewers, my fans. I definitely appreciate the support of the Bakucrew. Now then, all of you are going to wince when I start explaining the Nanogon, because I am running Nanogon. I'm running a full set of 3, but they don't really fit with the deck. So, going right into it, Aquos Nano Sludge'em on a Helix, if my camera would ever zoom in. Ooh, got a little dark, but it did zoom. So, Nano Sludge'em on Helix, you get to add a Bakucore from the field to your active Bakugan. And then on Helix and Green Fist, you get to steal a Bakucore from an opposing active Bakugan for your own active Bakugan. So already, right off the bat, you're probably asking yourselves, well, I see the Green Fist there in that ability, but he doesn't use any Green Fists, so that's a dead output. And you would be correct, that is, but I am thinking that if my opponent runs a Green Fist, Warrior Will could steal it. There's potential there. That's kind of the whole thing. Just interactions, kind of hoping the opponent has something, utilizing the stealing effects of Warrior Will. Next up, the Ventus Sludge'em. So quite a few angry Garys on this team. But I thought, you know, it's the only Ventus Nanogon I have. I wanted to make a full set. And its abilities aren't bad. So on Helix, plus 200 B power. And then on Double Helix, plus 600 B power. I mean, it's possible to get the Double Helix off on this deck because of Platinum Warrior Well's stealing ability. But usually you're only going to get the 1 Helix output, the plus 200 B power. And again, I mean, it just adds up on the B power. This is a B power deck, and I only have so many Nanogon. Lastly, it's Nano Widow, the oddest one in here, as I'm only ever going to be able to hit the 1 Orange Shield, probably, plus 200 B power. But then on Double Orange Shield, it's plus 6. So, again, kind of relying on what the opponent is using and the stealing effect of Warrior Well to get the Nanogon off. You know, they might not even be used. You might go whole games without using them. But I did want to fill in the slots nonetheless. So that will wrap up this deck profile. It's already getting into 18 minutes, and I don't want it to be too long. As always, thank you all for your support. Thank you all for watching. I definitely want you all to let me know what you think about this epic B-Power wins or a Warrior Whale stealing deck, I guess. Still not sure what to call it, but yeah. For those of you who are interested, I will have a link to my Discord in the description below. I am working really hard to get that more set up and to be an actual server. So please feel free to join so you can talk and meet up with the rest of the Baku crew. I am trying to build a little community for my subscribers. You know, it's a great place to post your own Baku hunts, your own Bakugan videos, deck profiles, spoilers, anything like that. You know, it is completely open, and I want everyone to share their ideas, because that's the whole point. That's always been the whole point of my channel, is just building onto the Bakugan community and sharing Bakugan with the world. But again, thank you all so much. Before you leave, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. I know I've got some deck lists coming out now. I have more after this one, but as you all know, I do unboxings that are planned and coming up, as well as the customs and repaint series, which I'm excited to announce. The second video should be up next weekend, and I will be redoing Dual Hydronoid. So until that time, stay safe, drome up, and remember, Bakugan, brawl.